Welcome to our session, Quality Online Instruction, Design Matters. Two different research centers discuss the importance of course design. This session will include a discussion of research on the phenomenon of digital learning to expand your knowledge on research and practice in this area and explore effective practices to be implemented within your course, for your program, or at your institution. Our two speakers today include Tanya Joosten from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and Patsy Moskal from the University of Central Florida. I'm Tanya Joosten from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, where I'm a senior scientist and the Director of Digital Learning Research and Development. I also head up the National Research Center for Distance Education and Technological Advancements, which we like to call DATA. I'm going to talk today a little bit about one study that we did and recently published on instructional characteristics and student success, which led us to our conclusion and title of today's presentation is that design really matters. Before I talk about our study, I just want to talk a little bit about the background of our effort at DATA. So when we launched this initiative in 2014, we were funded by the U.S. Department of Education, FIPSI, and we had three primary goals. We wanted to develop a research toolkit in order to collect data across institutions so that we could identify effective practices within classrooms and at the institution, and we want to disseminate those practices widely. The research toolkit produced by DATA is available on our website. In the toolkit, you will find guides to research, you will find helpful instrumentation to gather different measures about student experience in digital, blended, or online learning. Also, you will find code books that help with data sharing across institutions. This toolkit was developed after a national research summit was held in 2015 at the EDUCAUSE Learning Initiative conference. We actually have a new toolkit that's going to be coming out here shortly in the fall that was supported through the efforts of WCET, ELE, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So make sure to check that out. So in our study, we wanted to investigate these different instructional characteristics and whether or not they were statistically significant in influencing student outcomes. So we used a student survey instrument, which I had previously developed, from different quality rubrics, such as the Cal State University Chico rubric and Quality Matters. And then also, in addition to the student survey, we used data collected from the student information system. We merged the student survey data we collected with the students' data collected from the student information system, including their demographics and their grade data. So using a student survey and data pulled from the student information system, we were able to perform statistical analysis, regression analysis, and build models to better understand the relationship between instructional characteristics and student outcomes. I should also mention that we gathered qualitative data in the survey by asking questions with open response or free response. And we analyzed this data as well using thematic analysis. So what did we find when we analyzed all of this quantitative and qualitative data? Did instructional characteristics influence student outcomes? Yes, it did. And out of all of the factors that we examined, design was the most influential factor that accounted for most of the model that predicted student outcomes. So when we're thinking about putting a course online or we're trying to plan for teaching remotely due to the pandemic, the most important factor that we should be spending time on is our design of the courses. So are we identifying the measurable learning objectives? Are we aligning that with assessments that will produce documentation or evidence that the student has achieved those learning objectives? And are the learning objectives and the assessments also aligned with the student activities? Now, I should mention that all of these indicators influence student outcomes, but some more than others. So while faculty and instructors may find spending their time or prioritizing, let's say, how do they deliver their lectures online or digitizing their content, or maybe they're thinking more about the tools and the technologies that they'll need, like Zoom or other sorts of synchronous web meeting tools, the one that's most likely to impact student outcomes is going to be the design of their course. So that's really where they should be allocating most of their time. In addition to the infographic online course quality indicators that you can download from tinyurl.com/data quality indicators, you can also find a copy of our published article of this research located at the Online Learning Journal from the Online Learning Consortium at olj.onlinelearningconsortium.org.
My role at UCF as Director of the Digital Learning Impact Evaluation is to examine the impact of the use of various instructional technologies and modalities on our campus. Since 1996, RITE has not only provided the campus-wide assessment of these courses, we also work with individual faculty to help them conduct discipline or classroom-based research. In a nutshell, our office will work with the individual faculty member to design their research plan, spanning multiple semesters or courses as needed. Our graduate research assistants are masters at scouring the literature for relevant research to the topic, instructional technique, or the tool the faculty member is researching. If a survey, protocol, or test is needed, we'll help the faculty member construct that, and we'll implement it within Qualtrics or web courses, which is our branding of Instructure Canvas. We'll help the faculty member collect their data and analyze it for them, providing them with the results in publication quality charts and graphs. It's their intellectual property, and this is all provided free of charge. While we don't write articles for them, we do help faculty research publication and presentation outlets, and we'll help them get it in the proper format so that they can get something out of this research that they're doing. This support for scholarship of teaching and learning has been extremely lucrative on our campus. It's allowed us to connect faculty doing similar research in different disciplines across campus. These folks might never talk to each other otherwise or have any idea of others doing similar research. We've found it also has helped seed research in specific tools or technologies or instructional techniques that help inform our faculty development and the progress of our initiatives moving forward. Our support for this research is possible not because we have a large team. In fact, we have only 2 researchers and 2 part-time graduate research assistants. We do, however, rely heavily on data captured as students enter and progress naturally through the university. For instance, the Student Information System is a rich set of data containing information for each of the students' courses, including their grades, but also their progress as they go through their major. It also has interesting demographics such as their high school GPA, transfer status, and whether they're first generation, all 3 of which have been shown to influence student success. For individual course research, the Learning Management System gradebook is critical as it contains all of the grades for each assignment in a class. This is where course design is also very informative. The more assignments you have, the more you can actually tell the student's progress and at what point they may have gone off the rails at not succeeding. Our student perception of instruction form is automatically administered each semester and standardized across each course. For faculty who find this high-stakes assessment important to their tenure and promotion, it's easy for us to capture this and compare it with their past course semesters. Finally, we also help faculty with any qualitative assessments, such as surveys, focus groups, or interviews. This attention to quality has iteratively informed our required faculty development for those teaching blended and online courses, including a quality review process. Our UCF Center for Distributed Learning offers a suite of professional development opportunities for faculty. You can find more information on each of these at our Teach Online site. All of this effort paid off in spring 2020 as, like many of you, we were forced to rapidly migrate to remote instruction. And yes, we do differentiate remote instruction from what we have typically called quality online instruction on our campus. We found that having only 22% of spring 2020 teaching faculty that had no prior digital learning credentialing helped with the heavy lift of training those who had little or no experience teaching remote or online instruction. We attribute our positive end of semester faculty responses to the Division of Digital Learning's longitudinal effort and the focus on quality course design. 82% of our faculty perceived that they had adapted at least moderately well to moving to remote. They felt that 94% of their students adapted at least moderately well too. Our Keep Teaching website was a resource that was strongly used by our faculty, as were the DDL workshops provided on topics such as Zoom essentials and how to use the learning management system. Most faculty reported needing help using Zoom. Some actually needed help looking at online teaching techniques, not being familiar with the environment. All of these results were actually cycled back into our faculty development to help prepare our faculty for our more intentional move to remote instruction that happened this fall, when 90% of all UCF classes are online, and most of those that are on campus are using a blend flex approach to maintain social distancing in class. Surprisingly, faculty reported the technology did work pretty well and that they felt that the student interaction with their courses was increased in the spring. They also recognized students were very adaptable and resilient, and many of them felt the quality of student work increased. Faculty were especially concerned about their student ratings given the rapid and unexpected move to remote instruction after our spring break. Again, our data actually illustrated that all of the attention to quality courses has paid off, with our historical look at student ratings indicating that spring was rated as well as other semesters across the various modalities. While this is a very high-level snapshot, we work with individual faculty and programs to examine these across semesters for their individual classes or needs. For more information on anything we've shared with you today, please check out our websites listed below. Or reach out to Tanya or me at the email given on the slide. We would love to hear your questions and thoughts in the chat as well, and we'll try to respond to them as best we can. And please remember the EDUCAUSE evaluation. Thank you so much for attending.